What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Coach Plays, guys. In this video, we are going to break down the film of Ryan Tannehill's performance against the Houston Texans. The Tennessee Titans dropped a tough one to the then 1-8 Texans, and Ryan Tannehill probably had his worst performance as a Tennessee Titan. And there's a lot of talk already out there between some Titans fans that is it time to move on from Ryan Tannehill potentially after this season, or at least start to look ahead and draft a quarterback. I'm not on that train just yet. Let's dive. All right, guys, so real quick, let's go ahead and dive into the stats for Sunday's game. As you can see right here, Ryan Tannehill went 35 of 52 for 323, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. He had a quarterback rating of 58.4. Here's the first thing I'm going to say. Ryan Tannehill is not the quarterback you want to throw 52 times in a game. He's just not. If you're trying to tell me that in order for him to be an elite quarterback, he should be able to throw 40 to 50 times a game, then that's fine. He's not an elite quarterback. Doesn't mean that he can't win games for you. But that is not the recipe for the Tennessee Titans to win games. And it's just kind of showing how much the Tennessee Titans are hurting without having their MVP, Derrick Henry. So let's get into some of the plays now. This is a basic shot play here. It's intended for Marcus Johnson. Marcus Johnson is one of those back-end guys who, if you're not a Tennessee Titan fan, you probably don't know about. Injuries was a big issue in this game because no Julio Jones. A.J. Brown goes out halfway through the game. So, and then they've already cut Josh Reynolds. So they are in their back-end kind of lineup guys with a Marcus Johnson, Nick Westbrook-Akina, people like Chester Rogers, people who, like say, you don't really know a whole lot about. But they're going to run this shot play, fade ball, and Marcus Johnson does a really good job of beating his guy right here. And let's just kind of take a look at this play. So Tannehill's first, he's going to look off A.J. Brown. He notices that they're in a cover 3 look right here. And this corner is top shoulder. This corner is saying, you're not going to beat me, A.J. Brown. I understand who you are. So he's going to come off of this, and he's going to look right here, and he's got Marcus Johnson down at the bottom of your screen. The old saying of, if you're even, you're leaving. Right now, he is even with this corner right here. And Tannehill's going to let this one rip. And look at the ball placement right here. This ball is going to be placed on the outside shoulder of Marcus Johnson. This is a perfect pass. As I rewind it, though, you are going to see Marcus Johnson comes up a little bit gimpy, pulls his hamstring, and Marcus Johnson, who's already like the fourth string wide receiver, is out for the rest of this game as well. He pulls a hamstring in what a play should have been a touchdown Tennessee Titans. And I believe they would have took the lead early in this game, and it could have changed the whole direction of this game. Ends up not being because he pulls up on a hamstring here. But just look at this ball placement right here, right on the top shoulder. It's where either his guy can get it or no guy can get it. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's just one play. Well, if they would have had this play, the next play would have not even happened. But so we can call out the really bad plays of Tannehill, and he did make a lot of bad plays. This is one that should have been caught, should have been 6, and the next play would have never happened. So let's go into that next play. All right, so right here in this concept, Chester Rogers is going to run a drag across the field. Dez Fitzpatrick is just going to run a nice little wheel route. He's not going to run it like that cursor, of course. And then A.J. Brown's going to push and then try to follow back inside, so you get a little bit of a levels concept right here. Tannehill's going to try to watch this thing, and Tannehill makes a really bad mistake in this play. So as this play goes through, right here, Chester Rogers pushing across, but they're in a zone right here. He's going to pass him. He's just going to set in this drop, and of course he is aware of an A.J. Brown being in the area. A.J. Brown's going to try to hook underneath. And right there, Tannehill makes a really bad mistake. He's just going to lock his eyes on A.J. Brown, and he's never going to see the linebacker folding underneath. And this one is all the way back to the 5-yard line. Thankfully for Hilliard getting a big stop there. We'll go to the goal line view of this. So right here, what never helps out a Ryan Tannehill in this situation, he's really not looking at Chester Rogers at all. His eyes are looking straight for an A.J. Brown, and that's going to carry this linebacker right at his eyes straight to the football. It's a bad play. I mean, these are mistakes where you really don't want an NFL quarterback making right here. I mean, just staring down his receiver, and those eyes are going to take this linebacker right to the play. And if he would have hesitated right here, you could have potentially pump faked and then got A.J. Brown back into this little zone here, into that second window. But he doesn't. He throws it. He locks in on his receiver, A.J. Brown, trying to feed one of his dogs. And this is the play that kind of changed the game for the Tennessee Titans, and they were having to play catch up the rest of the day. All right, guys, so this is either like I believe this is the very next play after the big shot to Westbrook-Ikhine, and it ends up being an interception. Former Tennessee Titan receiver Chris Sanders came out on a local radio station, and he said not so fast as far as blaming Ryan Tannehill on this throw. Chris Sanders is a former wide receiver, and he wanted to point out what this concept and how it probably screwed up, and there was multiple errors by wide receivers. So this concept, what you're going to get here is what you call like a crossing route concept. Could be a dagger concept. Anyways, this is Dez Fitzpatrick, and he is going to push this route vertical right here. As Dez will push this route vertical, Chester Rogers is going to come underneath on a crossing route, getting across the field. At the top of your screen is not pushing this guy down the field fast enough. He's just not getting this corner to push off. Now, if the corner sits, yes, Tannehill can throw this ball over the shoulder for a big play. But ideally, they are wanting to hit this guy right here. They catch him in like a cover one man concept, which is really good for this sort of concept. But you have got to get this corner out of phase. Other mistake here on Chester Rogers' part, as he's getting across the field, honestly, he continues to get way too much depth. He needs to be working across the field right now to allow more separation. You've always heard if you have two guys in one spot, it could easily be covered by one. This is kind of what this scenario ends up being. I'm not 100% convinced that Tannehill is throwing the ball to Dez Fitzpatrick right here. I think this ball was intended for a Chester Rogers. As you see right here, to me it looks like Tannehill's eyes are right for Chester Rogers. His eyes don't look like they're going for a Dez Fitzpatrick here. So as we work through this, I believe Dez Fitzpatrick don't even need to be looking back for the ball right now. He needs to go. He needs to be sprinting down the field. Chester Rogers is in a really good spot right here. Looks like he's getting flat, but watch him gain more depth right there. It's just too much depth. Ball carries over. If he's continuing flat, I think he's got a chance to make this play. But it ends up it's just too much depth. And honestly, Chester Rogers is probably getting more depth than what he normally should because Dez Fitzpatrick is right in his way. Ball ends up being placed right here, and Desmond King just makes a really good play, turning his eyes around and making this pick. And all the positive momentum that the Tennessee Titans had just moments ago from a big play is all negated because the little fine details. I 100% believe this ball is intended for Chester Rogers coming across the field, but he can't fully come across the field because Dez Fitzpatrick, who is a fifth or sixth string receiver, is not in his proper placement, and it just leads to a devastating interception for the Tennessee Titans that a lot of people are saying, Tannehill, what are you throwing at? Maybe a few more blames need to be put on the wide receivers. Let's also not to mention that the right tackle is getting whiffed, and he's got pressure right in his face as he throws this football. All right, so now later in the game here, another scenario. The Titans are now having to really push down the field. They are behind. Ryan Tannehill, just a great stunt right here by the Houston Texans. He's going to crash hard into the A gap. This backer, Zach Cunningham, is going to flow hard right now, and it's probably the only way it's going to be picked up is by the back right here. But they are going to double send a stunt right here into B gap. And, it just comes in a scenario where, the slide protection's to the right. There's a wasted body right here with Ben Jones. They're going to get pressure to Tannehill. He does not have much time to throw this football right here. Looks like he's looking for Chester Rogers. He never gets out of his break, so he's going to go to the one receiver side as he throws this football. It's inside, and this is Dez Fitzpatrick again, who just recently had the mistake earlier. He hitches up, and it looks like to me Tannehill was thinking that it was going to be an in-breaking route right here. So another potential chance for miscommunication. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is 100% on Dez Fitzpatrick's fault. Tannehill had a bad game. But this is a scenario. There's video of Tannehill going to Dez right after this play, trying to talk about this. We don't know. I don't know what was called. I don't know if this was supposed to be a deep curl, a dig route breaking underneath. But this ball is hung out inside, and Dez Fitzpatrick is standing there and watching. It's not what you want to see in the receiver room. So, guys, by far, Ryan Tannehill did not have a great performance. And in times where there is no Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown goes out and Julio Jones is not playing, there was multiple injuries on the defensive side of the ball, yes, your quarterback has to step up and make the players around him better and bring them to a higher level of performance. But for a lot of people who saying that the Tannehill era should be done, I would say pump the brakes on that. The Tennessee Titans have not drafted a good quarterback since Steve McNair. That's been quite some time. You got to be careful for what you wish for. Understand that there are players who are playing around him right now that do not get a whole lot of reps. Dez Fitzpatrick was on the practice squad a week ago, and he was pressed into some action. Now, if you want to have the conversation here's the thing. Tannehill is due for a big payday. Does he deserve that big payday? I don't know, because in his next year, I think he's due $30 million a year. There might need to be some restructuring going around, and I'm not saying you don't go out and draft a quarterback to work underneath a Tannehill and learn from a Tannehill. But I do, as of right now, I am not on board with the thought process of Tannehill's got to go. It was a rough day for the Tennessee Titans. Hopefully they can fix it and bounce back against a very strong New England Patriots team that is streaking. That's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, put in the comments section what you think about Ryan Tannehill's performance. Also, put in the comments section if there's anybody else out there you want me to break down. I would like to do it. I love watching film, so we'll break it down, guys. Until next time, peace. The Houston Texans, who were then recording.